Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you all are doing great. A lot of people, especially software developers, try to change their career paths. A lot of people don't enjoy coding, or there may be some other reason that they don't want to pursue software development. So they try to switch to some other domains. Some find product management as one of such domains. For others, it is software development manager or SDM. Some go on for their MBA and then change their careers to finance itself. So today in this video, we are going to talk with Akriti Tiwari. She joined as a technology analyst at Citi Bank when she graduated from a great engineering college, Delhi Technological University. After that, she switched her careers, and that too long after 3 years of career, to product management path. She joined Blinkit as a product manager, and now she's a senior product manager at UniAcco. So we will try to understand from her journey, like why did she take this path, and it would be helpful for anyone who is exploring such path to know that what to expect in this shift of the journey, how tough is it to switch, and what are the benefits of actually switching to product management path from the software development. I hope you like this video, and let's start. Hi Akriti, thanks for taking out time to being on my channel. Today we'll be discussing mostly about your career journey, and I find it pretty amazing from your LinkedIn profile. So I think it will be helpful for a lot of people who are trying to follow the same path as you have followed. Uh, so going back, and let's just start from your college days itself. So I know you that you were my senior there. So you were a part of the cultural council. So while you were a part there, did you think that like how that would help your career in some way? You joined it because of that, or like just to explore different things?
Yeah, thanks for inviting me. And yeah, so talking about the college days, I became part of the cultural council since the first year itself. Initially, it was just fun, but as I started learning a lot of things, like starting from digital marketing to public relations to corporate and all of that, it was more of a learning experience, and I started enjoying the ownership bit. I did not think that maybe it will help in my career later, but it actually did. There was a lot of
Okay.
soft skills that I developed in those years, which actually helped me in my career, but that was not the reason why I actually was part of this.
Yeah, because it was quite opposite to your like branch. You were a part of computer engineering, and these all
Yeah.
part come as a different thing. Yeah. Okay. So after your college, you basically joined as a technology analyst at Citibank. So how was your experience there, and what did you learn in there?
Sure. So, yeah, as you mentioned that I was from computer science background, and my role at Citi
Hmm.
also was of a software developer. So, I think my
Hmm.
experience at Citi was very great. I stuck around for 3.5 years. At Citi, we
Hmm.
have rotations. So, the first year we work with one team, and second year we move to another team,
Hmm.
and then we can sort of decide which one we
Hmm.
want to end up at. So I think that
Hmm.
was a very good program. I learned a lot. I networked with a lot of people, and even in
Hmm.
terms of technology, like as you mentioned, I was more involved in the cultural council than in computer science projects. So I think it was a great learning for me. Also, I became like a full stack developer. I learned back end, front end, everything. So it was a very good
Okay.
learning experience. And other than that, actually, also
Hmm.
Citi provides a lot of opportunities to participate in outside of your regular work. So I was a part of a
Hmm.
lot of global initiatives, and which really helped me learn all stakeholder management, communication, leadership. And there was a point that I was connected to
Hmm.
so many global leaders at Citi. So I think that was really great.
So like you worked there I think for 3 years, and then you thought of switching to product management. So like when did you start thinking that software engineering you didn't like it, or like what were the reasons basically when you thought that you would make
Yeah.
this switch?
So this was actually it's a funny story. Actually, I had applied for one of Citi's one of the most prestigious programs they have called the Leadership Development Program. So I was among the
Hmm.
two people who were selected from India, and I was in the final round. So in
That's
thanks.
great.
So in all the rounds, they would ask me that where do you see yourself in 5 years, or what do you what do you want to do, and I always used to think
Okay.
that while I don't have a definitive answer of, where I want to see myself, I just knew that I want to be strategizing a solution, basically conceptualizing it more than implementing it, because as a software developer we are more focused on implementing a given set of requirements. So I always thought that I want to be part of strategizing the solution, thinking of it, and then implementing it as well. So but that was probably not the answer that they were expecting, and that's when I discovered that there is something called as product management. I did a lot of research on the internet and I found a term for what I want to do. So that is how I realized that I want to get into product management. And I am always more of a people person. Like a developer role is more of an individual contributor. But in product management, you are communicating with a lot of people. You're taking ownership. You're responsible for something end to end. So that is something I wanted to do more. Yeah.
Okay. So then, people also go on and become the software development manager, and you become a product manager. So did you think about going that way also, or you like specifically the product management part?
Yeah, I thought about it, but I feel that my my overall persona is more towards product management. Code. I really enjoy coding. I'm very good at it, but I don't think that's my best skill, or my most sellable skill, I think. So that's why I chose product management, and it kind of gives you an overall sense of the business context also, and a lot of other things on the side than just the engineering aspect of things. Yeah.
Okay. So you said that you explored various things on the internet. So were they easy to find, or you had to reach out to some people to tell how to approach this thing?
So when I actually discovered, so to say, the role product management, what I did was I actually reached out to a number of people on LinkedIn. So I some of the companies that probably I aspired to be a part of, I searched for product managers at those companies, people who have been in that role for at least 2 years, and I reached out to them. I requested if we could just schedule a call for 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and I wanted to understand what their day-to-day looks like, because I wanted to be sure of what I'm getting into. When you read blogs and everything, it all looks very rosy, that oh wow, this is
very good,
very nice, but to get a sense of what the actual role is, I did speak to a number of people. They're very kind people on the internet. They agreed to do the calls. And so I first got a sense of what the day-to-day looks like, and is it something that I want to be a part of. There was some inhibitions, but I knew that some challenges are there in every role. So I then made up my mind that product management is something that I want to do. And there's a plethora of resources on the internet. Somehow I landed up on 2-3 channels, the product folks community and the PM school, which were my go-to resources. We could go to them for explanation videos, and the product folks actually has a number of PMs from the industry, Indian industry, who come and share their experiences, and they talk about various things. So from there I learned a lot, and then I directly started practicing case studies. So that really helped me get into the product mindset, and then subsequently applied to various companies. Yeah.
Okay. So how much time did you take for this preparation?
So initially I took 2 weeks off from work, because that was my discovery phase. I was trying to understand what I want to do. So first I took 2 weeks off. I spoke to people on the internet. I did some basic reading about product management. And after that, I started doing case studies and all. So I was able to land interviews in probably 1.5 months' time. I started giving interviews. And maybe in 2.5 months, I had my first offer. So there were two main factors. My background as a software developer really helped. And second, that startups these days are very open to giving people opportunities. Otherwise, usually in big corporations, people without product experience are not very easily.
Yeah, they won't give it.
So that kind of helped.
Okay. So did you use some knowledge from software engineering while preparing for product management, or is it a completely different thing to prepare for?
There's not much, things that you can leverage right now, while breaking into product management, but definitely my problem solving skills that I developed while coding, right, those logical reasoning, that bit kind of helped. And also because I've been a UI UX developer also, it helped me design the screens better. And then my role, my background in
Okay.
software engineering helped me in my product role after I joined the company, because I had to work very closely with developers. So I could understand their language, I could communicate in their language. So that
Okay.
really helped. Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm. Okay. So your preparation from the YouTube channels and the resources on the internet, that was enough to be fully prepared for the
Yeah. I
interviews, right?
started doing case studies and all that. So I have also documented all of these resources in an article. Maybe you can pin
Okay.
the article. So it's
Yeah.
like very, because on the internet you have a lot of resources. So if somebody who's just looking for
Yeah.
like 1, 2, 3, this is what I want to do, that can help.
Yeah. Yeah. Sure. That would be really helpful for everyone.
Yeah.
You just provide me with the link, and I'll add in the description and a
Sure.
post on LinkedIn. Yeah. So after that, you joined Blinkit. So it's a like fast-growing startup, and like I've heard about the work-life balance of a startup. So, and it would have been quite different from the amount of work you did at Citibank and the type of work also. So like, how was the experience?
Yeah, definitely. It was a very, very big change for me. First of all, coming from a big corporate to a growing startup, and then also from banking to supply
Yeah.
chain, and a role change also. So it
Yeah.
was too much of change at once. And because the stage at which Citi is, it has all the processes established, and there are only incremental changes that
Yeah.
you're looking at to make things better. At Blinkit, we were experimenting, we were trying out if things work, and if they're not working, you have to quickly pivot and change your thinking and alignment, because everything you're doing has a very, very high impact. Like, for example, if I was in the supply side, so if some kind of orders, I mean some kind of delivery got late, there is a direct impact to the sales. So the stakes
Yeah.
are very high. So that way it was very action packed.
High pressure. High
Yes,
pressure, man.
yes.
So how did you find product management as compared to software development? Like a lot of people think that management is a bit easier side as compared to development because you don't have to code. So what are your thoughts on this?
See, the challenges in both roles are very different. I have been in both roles. So, as a software developer, things are kind of streamlined because you know what you have to develop, how you do it in the best possible or the most efficient ways on you as a developer, how you implement it. But kind of things are streamlined because you know what you want to do, and and other than that, it's more of enhancements or technology, optimizations, things to make it faster and all of that. That is a very logical bit, and I think you need very specific hard skills for being a software developer. In product management, it's you need certain hard skills like data analysis and all that, but it is more soft skills oriented, because you are the one who's collaborating with all the different stakeholders. There's somebody else who's bringing out a requirement. Then you have to think that what could be the best solution to this. You kind of experiment. You design an experiment around it. You work with data team. You analyze that, okay, is this the best way to go forward? Then you finalize on an approach. Then you work with developers to sort of get it implemented. And if things are getting delayed in the development front, you are the face of everything, right? You have to answer the business that, okay, this is getting late. So there's a lot of ownership and all of that. So there are different challenges for a product manager and different this thing. But it's to each its own. Like, I like this aspect more, so I'm continuing here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The person, like, people should work according to their interests, and like even if the work is more, you feel less pressure because you're enjoying what you're doing. Yeah, that makes sense. So like in product management, you would have to learn some tools like Tableau, etc. You did have to learn, or it was not that far?
Yeah, so I mean, it depends from company to company, because different companies use different resources. But the
Different
generic scheme of things is that, you need to have a basic understanding of data analysis and maybe data analysis tools, be it Excel, Python, Tableau, anything. And then, for
Okay.
in Blinkit, like, it was still a very larger company, so there were teams divided. So there was a different consumer team which was looking at data from the consumer side. So you have tools like Amplitude and Mixpanel, which are giving you all the data about your channels, like your web traffic and everything. It gives you a lot of data on that. So those kind of tools come into play. For collaboration, you have Jira. You're working with developers, so you create tasks, you write stories and all of that. And then I think documentation is also one skill, because you have to make sure that everything is clearly understood and all the stakeholders are on the same page. So having it documented correctly also is another skill.
Yeah. So like these are quite different from like the development part.
Yeah.
So it is a quite a learning curve for anyone who is switching to product management.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think in my role as a software developer, Citi, I had a lot of freedom. So my manager had asked me only. I was only managing the Jira and everything. So that really
Okay.
helped me in the new role.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's great. So after Blinkit, you are now at UniAcco. So like how is it different from your previous job, and like are you enjoying it here?
Yeah. So I think it's a very different experience. So like from a big corporate to a growing startup to an early stage startup. So
Okay.
it is quite a journey. And here at UniAcco, I'm one of the most senior people in product here. So I think there is a lot of ownership. I'm leading their UniAcco product end to end. So now earlier at Blinkit it was one aspect of Blinkit, which was the supply side.
Area.
Now I'm looking at it end to end. So now I am responsible for what is the user experience on the website. I am thinking about if a student has booked with us, how was their experience? Did they face any challenges after booking with us also and before they kind of move in? And so it has everything. It has content that is there on the website, content that is sent to them on emails. What is the user experience? If are there any technical glitches on the website? What all features could we add? So it is now completely end to end, and it's a lot of ideation and experimentation that is to come, I think, and which is very exciting.
Yeah, that seems pretty exciting and like lot stressful also because you are managing a
Yeah,
lot of
yeah,
things
yeah.
now. So how do you actually progress? Like you mentioned that it is about the skills that you bring to the table. So like if somebody is in product management field and is trying to progress, so what would you recommend?
Yeah. Uh, in my opinion, about growing in product role, I think it's really a lot more of learning on the job because you're constantly experimenting. So sometimes it'll work, sometimes it'll not, and both the times it's a very big learning experience. And every time the projects are of a very different nature, so you're constantly learning. One time you are collaborating with people in a certain way and it doesn't work, and then you realize that you have to change that. So most of it is something that you have to do. So you have to constantly be in the mindset of experimenting, and you have to be okay to fail. I mean, it sounds very bookish, but it has actually worked. Like initially I was trying to be very prim and proper that no, we'll follow all these processes and it will definitely work, but it doesn't happen like that. Especially in a startup, if you try to incorporate all processes at once, it will not work because things change very rapidly. You have to accommodate ad hoc things that come up. So I think it's just constantly experimenting, trying to put process in place slowly and incrementally, and being okay to fail because everybody is experimenting. Nobody has the right solution because if they had it, the problem would have been solved, right? So
Yeah.
it's mostly about experimenting, and then you have to make sure that if there is somebody who's made a mistake, you have to take ownership for that. You do not put the blame on somebody else, and once you succeed, you have
Yeah.
to share the credit with the team because ultimately it is a team effort. So I think these qualities, and keeping your communication as clear as possible, because later on people say that no, this is not how it's supposed to be and all that. So you have to make sure you communicate as clearly and as often as possible, even if there's a delay, and even if it's just by a day. It's you just keep the stakeholders informed that so and so has happened and we are going late by a day. So that kind of gives people faith in you that okay, something, they are working on something and it will happen. It's not like they've forgotten about it. So clear communication, I think, being okay to fail and experimenting, these
Fail.
things.
So basically, by these things, you are able to create a good impact in your organization, and that will basically help you
Yeah,
grow.
and
Yeah, and like
yeah.
you go
So
on.
basically, that establishes credibility in yourself, right? Because ultimately, you are the face for every one of the stakeholders. So as long as they trust you, that is all you need to sort of grow in this role and also grow the company forward.
Yeah, And I think the establishing credibility is like most important, like when you are switching careers, because they want to trust you that you are able to handle this role
Absolutely.
also. If you have to recommend someone who is just trying to get into product management, so like what would be your key tips? Just who is trying, someone who is trying to start or basically switch from any other field.
Yeah. I think this was the advice I also actually got from my seniors and people who I reached out to on LinkedIn is be sure why you want to get into product management. Like if you decide you have to get
Okay.
into product management, definitely you can prepare and there are so many resources you can make that transition. But before doing that, be sure why you want to do it and is it actually what you want to get into. And that really helped me because I actually took those 2 weeks off just to clear my headspace, and I just wrote down keywords of what I want to do, what my ideal role in my mind looks like, and then I spoke to people and I found out that yeah, this is the role that I want to be in. So after I decided, then there are a lot of resources. You will find endless things on the internet to make that transition. But just my advice would be to be sure of why you want to do this.
A lot of people think that an MBA is necessary. So, like they can see from your example also that you can shift if you have the right skill set. So, like, do you feel that the people who have an MBA they also join as a product managers in different companies? So, do you think that they have any advantage?
Probably somebody who's done an MBA could answer that better, but in my personal opinion, see, or in earlier times, yeah, an MBA was required, but these days, a lot of companies are shifting to a different mindset that if you have the right skills, the qualification or the degree is not as important. So, like doing an MBA is not the only path to product management, but yeah, definitely people who do an MBA, they come from a different experience altogether. So 2 years of rigorous learning they have, and a college or a campus life adds a lot of other things. You're managing stress, you're managing your exams, you're doing different activities together. So that kind of helps you. And I think an MBA for somebody who was a fresher before an MBA and then who's joining in a product role, that MBA could add more value. But since I already had 3.5 years of experience, so I've gone through that like
Yeah.
on the job, and I've acquired the skills and the knowledge on the job. So that's why it didn't probably matter so much. So for somebody who's a fresher, maybe an MBA would add much more value than somebody who has like 3-4 years of industry experience.
So, like what you're doing now, did like while your college, did you ever think that you would be pursuing this field, or this you realized in your journey, like as you came?
No, I honestly didn't know what a product manager was back in college.
Okay.
But somewhere down in my heart, I knew I wanted to be in a role where I was doing what I was doing at my cultural council and all of that, managing so many teams, so many people together, communicating and all of that. And I used to think that maybe event management is the only way to do this. So my dream that time was to maybe open an event management company. But yeah, the product role comes very close to it, and I'm quite happy that I'm here.
So, like, yeah, so like from your example, people can basically see that they can realize the like what they want to do and eventually stumble upon, like, even if they are
Yeah.
doing something else, they can realize that what they actually
Absolutely,
want to do.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think this was all, and this was really helpful for a lot of people who are actually switching to product management and want to shift. And it was great to know about your journey. It is quite interesting, a lot of ups and downs, and I wish you all the best in your new role at UniAcco. And thank you so much for finding out time.
Thank you, Sukhad. It was really nice interacting with you, and I hope this conversation helps people.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.